Man, that current is ripping this morning. Yeah, good one. There we go, first fish of the day here on a buzzbait. That is a chunk. Saw that thing come up and wake it, and then he finally came back and got it. Oh, let me get out of the weeds right here real quick. Oh, there we go. What is up, guys? Welcome to the pool 7 of the Arkansas River here. It's called the Maumelle pool, and just got this really good overcast conditions this morning. It rained a lot yesterday, and there's a bunch of current pushing through the river. And I just got that fish on a little buzzbait and some shallow water willow, and that is a beautiful bass. Probably a 2 3/4, 3-pounder right there. So good way to start the morning. That fish is fat, so I don't want to talk too long. I want to get back in there and get some more fish. I already have missed 1 or 2. They're in the 12 to 13 inch range. So first good fish of the day. Let me put them back. There we go. That's awesome, guys. Whew, came back and jumped. Man, there we go though. Just fishing down this grass with this black buzzbait. I'm sure you've seen me throw this before in my videos, and if you haven't, definitely go pick yourself up one of these War Eagle buzzbaits with the little horny toad on the back. They are so good, and they catch so many big fish. Man, all I was doing was fishing this buzzbait through this grass. There's a bunch of current pushing through this river because of the rain last night, and so these fish are pulling up in this grass and feeding, and these overcast and rainy conditions are helping the bite too, so it should be a great morning for a topwater bite. Oh God, got me right at the boat, another toad. That is a chunk. Did y'all see that? That thing was right at the boat. That is a good one, dude. I need to pull off this grass again. They are chewing this morning. I tell you guys, that buzzbait is the deal. War Eagle buzzbait with the horny toad on the back. You can pick these up at Academy or Bass Pro Shops or wherever. And I always fish it in all black. And if you're fishing any place where there's grass or really anywhere where there's shallow bass, that buzzbait will work on rainy days. Let me weigh this guy real quick. It's a toad. Okay, I'm seeing 394. Scale's always bouncing on me, but 394, almost a 4-pounder, means I have about 7 pounds for my first 2 bass of the day. Not too bad. So great Arkansas River bass. These are actually really good ones for pool 7 of the Arkansas River. Normally it takes 10 to 15 pounds to win tournaments out here in the summer, and so that is a really good start to the day in the first hour of the morning. Right here too by the lock for pool 7 that goes into pool 6, the Little Rock pool. And so if you guys are ever coming and locking through up to the Maumelle pool or pool 7 out from pool 6, stop on this little stretch of grass here. There's a bridge and there's a bunch of fish pulled up on here all the time. So I'm gonna let that beautiful bass go. Oh man, there we go. That fish was actually had drifted way down this stretch of grass. The current's pushing like crazy this morning, and that fish was right on the outside edge of this grass. And when the current's pushing really strong like this, these fish like to get on the outside edge of the grass because they can ambush any bait that's getting blown by these grass lines and on these points. So when you're fishing on these grass lines, cast that bait all the way up to the shore and work it all the way through the grass, and then also work it about 2 to 3 feet from the edge of that grass. That last fish grabbed it off the end of the grass because he was probably chasing some shad that were getting pushed by the current. Okay, so here's a spot that I'm fishing right now, and it's just a grassy bank by the Murray Lock and Dam on the bottom of pool 7, and there's 2 reasons why this spot is really good. The first is that there's a creek channel that runs right into the mouth of this lock, and this creek channel gives the bass some deep water to sit in during the summertime when it's really hot and there's no current running. But then when the current starts flowing or you get some windy and cloudy conditions like we have today, those bass will pull up out of that creek channel onto that grassy bank to feed. And the second reason this spot is really good is that it's close to this dam. And that means that even if they're generating just a tiny bit of current, there's going to be some water flow down the edge of this grass. And also, you can get some current when the doors of that lock open. So even if the dam isn't generating any current, there's still some current flow whenever the doors of that lock open, and that's going to get those fish to pull up in the grass and feed. So whenever you're looking for summertime banks to fish on river systems, check out the banks closest to those lock and dams because you're always going to find current there. Another thing too is this water is chocolate milk, like probably 3 to 4 inches of visibility right here. And so don't be afraid to throw that topwater bait or that buzzbait in really dirty water. Those fish will come up and get it. even if the water's 2 to 3 feet deep. Man, I think I'm gonna make another pass down this grass line. I fished down it with the current and I was blowing pretty fast down the grass, so I missed a lot of good casts. So I'm gonna work back into the current so I can fish a little bit slower and try to pick off a few extra fish by making some different casts down these grass lines. Sorry, fish. Oh, he came off. It's the second time I've done that this morning. I've literally ripped those fish out of the grass, those little ones, and floated them into the side of the boat and they've come off. But both those fish were not keepers, so not too worried about it, but come on. And when you're fishing on these grass lines, try to keep your boat parallel to the grass like I'm doing here. And even if you're casting up into the grass like a 45-degree angle, keeping your boat parallel will help you hit a lot more angles on that grass, and you'll be able to keep that bait in productive water a lot longer. Got him. There we go. I don't know if that's a keeper here, but another nice fish, just a little male. Finally got one of these little guys in the boat and didn't pull him straight in the side of the boat and he came off, but it's a nice little bass right there. Nothing big, but still fun on that buzzbait. Just goes to show though, guys, I just went back and fished that entire stretch, and while I only got 2 small fish to bite, I came back down the exact same stretch where I was just throwing that buzzbait, and I just fished it from a little bit different angle and I got 2 more bites. So when you're fishing down this grass, especially on river systems, those fish will reload constantly. And so don't be afraid to come and refish a shoreline or a bank that you've just fished, because a lot of times it'll pay off and you'll get a couple extra fish in the boat. Okay, so I spent a good while fishing in one of these backwaters here on Pool 7, and I was thinking that there might be some fish up in this grass, and there's some current pushing through here as well, so I thought it set up really well, but for some reason these fish are not feeding back in this backwater. So I'm gonna move back out to the main river, head back out there and pick up that buzzbait again and see if I can't put a couple more good ones in the boat. Good one. There we go. Changed up, got to some more main river grass, like I said, guys, and found some more fish. These fish are definitely stacked up on these main river grass lines that have a bunch of current pushing against them. And that's a nice fish right there. I'm gonna measure that guy to make sure that he's a keeper, because I want to see what my biggest 5 would be today, because I already have a pretty good limit started. But first I have to dig out my bump board. I haven't tournament fished, guys, in 2-3 years, but I plan on tournament fishing here a lot more now that I've graduated with my MBA, and so hopefully going to be putting this bump board to use. You can see it's already been used a lot over the years, but let's get a measurement on this guy. They need to be 14 inches here on the Arkansas River, and that right there is a keeper largemouth on the Arkansas River. So 14 incher, not too bad. Not one I would probably want to keep if I was going to be fishing a tournament. Probably want to release that guy back and switch him out with a little bit bigger one, but I'm going to put him back in the lake and try to find 2 more to fill out that limit. Oh, there we go. Got that fish again on this black buzzbait, and again, just came back out to the main river here, and there's a ton of current flowing. I have my trolling motor on like 5 or 6 just to keep up with the current, and I'm just working that buzzbait through this scattered grass. And back in that backwater where I was fishing earlier, the grass was a lot thicker, and I was fishing with a frog because I just couldn't really cast that buzzbait through the grass. But if you look at all the grass in front of me here, it's a lot thinner, and that's really good when the current is running, because those fish can kind of sit on the edge of that grass and then dart out really quick to grab any bait that's flowing by. So when you're fishing out on the main river here, especially on the Arkansas River, look for this thinner grass, not the thick matted grass, and you're going to get a lot more bites. Another thing I like about this buzzbait is I can really cast that thing all the way up into that grass and pull it through really easily. It doesn't get hung up or anything, even though it has that open hook, and I can also cover a lot of water with it. As you can see, I'm reeling that bait pretty quick, and those fish don't mind. You don't have to slow it down or anything this time of year, and it just allows me to cover a lot of water, make a lot of casts. And when you have so much grass to fish, it's really tough to slow down and hit every single piece of grass with that frog. You're just not going to cover enough water in a day to put a limit in the boat. So if you have a lot of grass on your home lake and you're struggling to cover it all, pick up that buzzbait and fish a little bit quicker, and you're probably going to get a few more fish in the boat. Got him. Good one. There we go. That's number 4 right there. That is a good one. There we go. That's a nice Arkansas River bass again. I'm gonna put this guy on the scale real quick just to see what he weighs. I'm guessing 2 1/4, 2.5 pounds. Seeing 244, so almost a 2.5 pounder. Good fish. So number 4 right there. That is a chunky bass. Nice fish. If you notice too, that fish just barely had the trailer hook on this buzzbait. He was hooked just like that with that trailer hook in him. And so whenever you're fishing a buzzbait, always put on a little trailer hook on the back, and you're going to hook all the fish, almost all the fish that bite. I rarely miss fish on this buzzbait, especially when I have that horny toe on the back. They seem to really like to chomp down on that toad, and I probably miss, you know, maybe 1 out of every 5 fish that blows up, and that's going to happen when you have topwater fish. But most of the time, if they really want it, they're going to choke it, just like that one did. So nice bass. I'm putting them back real quick. There we go. These fish are so lively today. They just want to get right back in there. Awesome fish. There we go. That is number 4 right there. Just came off this little edge of the grass, and actually this spot is really good because the current pushes really hard up against this bank. But there's actually a pocket of calm water over here, and so there's a really nice eddy that's formed right off this point, right where that fish was. And I was thinking that I was going to get bit right here because this is one of the really good spots down this stretch, and he was right where he was supposed to be. So that's 4 really good fish for the Mall Meld pool right away this morning. I think it's probably partly because of the conditions, partly because of that current, but either way, I'm putting together one of the better limits I've had out here in a while. So here's a better look at the spot where I just caught that fish, and this is a spot that always produces for me, and it's just a main river bank with some grass on it. But the reason it's so good is because the main river channel swings right up against this bank. And if we zoom into the spot a little bit, you can see that the main river channel swings right up against the area where I just caught that fish. And whenever you have a main river channel swinging close to a main river bank, there's going to be a lot more current in that spot. And right here, the river channel actually turns, and it creates an eddy right where the river channel turns off, and that current again is going to follow that river channel and create a no current area right here by this grass. And that's where I caught that bass, right where the river channel turned and there was that current eddy, or that no current area. And one thing I can say is that all my best fish on Pool 6 and Pool 7 of the Arkansas River have come out of the shallow grass. And whenever there's current pushing through the river, these fish will get up shallow in this grass, and they'll feed on buzzbaits, on frogs. You can catch them flipping later in the summer, and it's just a really good pattern to run on the Arkansas River. And I fished all over this pool. I fished up shallow and backwaters and on jetties, and I would say 90% of the fish I've caught over 4 pounds have come out of the shallow grass. And so if you're on a river system that has grass like this, or you're fishing the Arkansas River, check out this shallow grass when that current's running, and you're going to be catching a lot of good fish. Got him. Oh, there we go. There's a Kentucky. Number 5 at least. Spotted bass out here on the river only need to be 12 inches long, and that one's probably close to a 14-incher. So that's number 5 here in quick order, right after I just caught that other one. So this little stretch of grass here has always been a really good stretch for me over the years. And I'm just gonna put this guy back real quick. But what I found on the Arkansas River here is that when you find a good stretch of grass, they're gonna reload there every single year. And so what I do is I actually mark these spots on my on a waypoint on my GPS, and I'll come back to them every single year, and they always produce fish year after year. And another thing is that, oh God, like I said, they're just stacked up on these small stretches. I just fished probably a good, oh, he's peeing all over me, but I just fished a good probably 100 yards of grass. Let me get this guy unhooked real quick. There we go, just a little guy, but like I was saying, I fished about 100 to 200 yards of grass before getting to the stretch and didn't really get any bites. And then I pull up on the stretch and I catch 3 fish in like 6 casts. And so these fish will group up on small stretches of grass out here on the river. And so don't get discouraged if you fish a long way without getting bites. Whenever you're fishing grass, you can always find small stretches that have fish in them. And normally, like for me, I know where the good stretches are, like I said, because I find them year over year in the same stretches. But if you don't have those stretches found, just pick up a bait like this buzzbait, cover water, and sooner or later you're going to run into some fish. And normally when you do, you're going to catch 3 or 4 right away. So don't get discouraged, just keep covering water, keep fishing fast, and you're going to run into them. Oh man, that buzzbait is a fish catching machine out here in the Arkansas River. I love that bait. Again, if you haven't tried one of these things, pick them up. They're so good. They're so effective on the river. Also catch a lot of good fish on other dirty water lakes around the area. Even if there's no current or shallow grass, you can just fish them down along laydowns or on cypress trees. And shoot, I even catch them on Lake Washita and Lake DeGray in the summertime on cloudy days up in the shallow bushes. So don't be afraid to throw this thing when it's bright and sunny too. You'll definitely get bites. Got him. Got a fish. Good one. There we go. This is an awesome day, guys. You have no idea how good of a day this is for the Arkansas River. Probably looks really easy. Let me pull myself off the rocks here. Oh. Whoops, well, it looked like that camera wasn't rolling when I brought that fish over, but really nice bass right there. He's actually bleeding a little bit, but that's a solid 3-pounder right there. And so I'm gonna let him go. He'll be fine. I just nicked him a little bit with the hook, so I'm gonna put him back in the lake real quick. There we go. Awesome, that's another 3-pounder, guys. That is so awesome. Kind of bummed I missed the fish coming in the boat there on the back camera, but I got on the chesty, so at least you'll be able to see what I'm doing there. But either way, I got that fish again on this buzzbait, and I mean, man, I'm making it look really easy today on pool 7 of the Arkansas River, but this pool is tough. Like I said, it takes 10 to 12 pounds to win tournaments out here all summer long. And so today is just a really good day, I think, but also this buzzbait is just calling up those little bit bigger fish than normal. So I don't know, I'm gonna keep fishing because I'm just jacked out of my mind. You have no idea. It's one of the best days I've had in this pool ever. That is awesome. Kind of bummed that camera turned off, but it's all good. I got a bunch of other fish catches on there, so should be fine. But either way, just working that little black buzzbait through this grass, and this is another little stretch that I love to fish. There's some current that's pushing strong right across this grass, and that fish was sitting up right on that grass, and he destroyed it. That was so fun. That's awesome. Man, I wanted to get that fish back in the lake quick because he was bleeding a little bit, but that was another 3-pounder. So if I call out that little Kentucky I caught, I probably have somewhere around 13 to 14 pounds, which is really good on this pool. Like I said, I'm really happy with that today. And I've only been fishing for probably 2.5 hours, so got a lot of fishing time left. I might call it a little bit early today just to get home and do some editing because I have plenty of fish catches and plenty of instruction in this video already. So I'm gonna fish around a little bit more and maybe talk about my gear a little bit and then call it a day. Okay guys, let me just run through my tackle with you real quick. Here's that buzzbait that I'm throwing, just a little War Eagle buzzbait, and it's the one that comes with the toad on it in the package. And so it has a nice little keeper here, as you can see, that holds up that horny toad really well. And I just have a bunch of replacement horny toads here, and so what you do is just kind of feed that horny toad up onto the buzzbait, and this adds a little bit extra weight to that bait. It also gives those fish something to grab onto, which they like. You can also skip this buzzbait with that horny toad on there. And then all I'm doing is just putting a little size 3 trailer hook on the back. So I had to use a little bit shorter one so it doesn't get caught up in the kickers. And then just throw that little keeper on there and you're good to go. And then for my equipment, I'm just throwing a 7-foot medium heavy action bait casting rod, and this is just an old Quantum one I have, and I'm throwing it with a 7-to-1 gear ratio bait casting reel with 65-pound braided line. And I really like that braided line when I'm fishing this buzzbait because it helps me pull that bait out of the grass and out of any cover I put it in, and it's not going to bother the fish at all with that braid. And this bait has a good strong hook on it, so you won't straighten out the hook either. So always go with 65-pound braid when you're fishing a buzzbait, and you're going to get more fish in the boat. Well guys, I fished my way back to the ramp here. I've only been out here for like 3 hours, but I already have a really good limit in the boat, and I don't think I can do too much better than what I have, and I don't really have that much more instruction to give either. And so I'm actually gonna go back to the house and start editing all these videos I have. I have so many that I haven't got to yet, so I wanna start editing those down for y'all. So hope you enjoyed this video, and hope you learned something about fishing that buzzbait down some of the shallow grass. And if you did, and you enjoyed the video, hit like and subscribe down below. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and share the video out with a friend if you think they'll learn something from the video too. So hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.